We are live.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Or good afternoon. Welcome to, and we're going to put up the agenda back on the screen. Welcome to the City of Milpitas Economic Development Trade Commission regular meeting, Zoom webinar, Monday, May 10th, 2021 at 4:30 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Nicole?
Hi, Chair Norwood. Was that a motion for calling the meeting to order?
There was. We have a motion and a second.
Okay. Could I just confirm, do we need to vote on this to call the meeting to order? I didn't think we did, Alex.
I might be at another meeting, so I might mentally have another idea in my head. So if not, we can move right on to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
since we do have Nicole's voice loud and clear, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Sure thing. Everybody, please stand if you may.
Pledge of allegiance to the
Pledge of
allegiance to the flag
Of
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands
one
one
nation,
nation
under
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with liberty, justice for all. Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So just for the record, Nicole, I want you to know that you're going to keep doing it until you don't have to look at the phone anymore. I just want you to know that that's what's going to happen. Roll call.
Thank you, Chair. Starting with Chair Norwood,
Here.
Vice Chair McNeil,
Here.
Commissioner Mundra,
Here.
Commissioner Rice,
Here.
Commissioner Dariani. I believe Commissioner Dariani is absent. Alternate Commissioner Aswapi
Here.
and Alternate Commissioner Gomez.
Hi, here.
Did you mention Commissioner Rice?
Yes,
Okay.
Commissioner Rice stated he is present.
Okay.
And I'd also like to note that alternate Commissioner Aswapi is seated in place of the vacant and unfilled hospitality seat, and alternate Commissioner Gomez is seated in place of the vacant and unfilled real estate seat.
Thank you.
Thank
At this time, we approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion, and is there a second?
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. As we are still in the virtual role, this is a roll call vote.
Thank you, Chair Norwood. Starting with Chair Norwood,
Yes.
Vice Chair McNeil,
Yes.
Commissioner Mundra,
Yes.
Commissioner Rice,
Yes.
Commissioner Aswapi,
Yes.
and Commissioner Gomez.
Yes.
Motion carries. At this time, we are item 6 on the agenda, approval of the minutes of April 12th, 2021. Is there a motion?
Commissioner Rice will make a motion.
We have Commissioner Rice with the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Mundra with the second. It's a roll call vote.
Chair Norwood,
Yes.
Vice Chair McNeil,
Yes.
Commissioner Mundra,
Yes.
Commissioner Rice,
Yes.
Commissioner Aswapi,
Yes.
and Commissioner Gomez.
Yes.
Excellent. Motion carries. Item 7 on the agenda, public forum. Public comments may be provided live during the commission meeting by first registering for the Zoom meeting in advance by providing an email address and a name. Are there any comments from the public?
Chair Norwood, there are no raised hands for public forum.
There are no raised hands for public forum. The public forum is now closed. Item 8 on the agenda. Announcements.
Would you like, is this the time for me to update you on what's happening with the Milpitas Chamber?
Yes, this is the time for announcements.
Okay. So the Milpitas Chamber, there's been a significant effort to address the needs of small businesses as we move forward out of the pandemic. And of course, we see a lot of new businesses starting up in the next couple of years. And to address that, we've put a couple of teams together, the chamber to, one is to re-image the chamber itself and do marketing differently. And the other part is to set up a team that will constantly be in touch with the local businesses, small or large, and seeing what needs to be done, and if there's any help they need. And overall, the chamber will put a program together where they need to be guiding incoming businesses, new incoming businesses, to whatever help they need, whether it's getting a business license or working with planning to get their permits, getting funding, and getting them in the right direction, not to do the complicated financial calculations or anything, but just to guide new businesses towards sources of financial help, which might be SBA, SBDC, and whatever other entity has the best solution for them. And once those businesses come into Milpitas, it's essentially there has to be an ongoing communication with the business community so that they get sort of a full confidence that they're in the best location for their business. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mundra. Are there any other announcements?
Chair, I'd like to inform you that Councilmember Dominguez is with us, as well as our Assistant City Manager, Ashwini Kantak, in case our council member would like to make a statement before I go.
Hi, everybody. I'm so sorry. My connection is not the best, but definitely we are in recovery. I know I was having some issues with announcements, but I definitely want to invite everybody to tomorrow's meeting. Is going to be really important as we begin to discuss some of the stuff that we are going to be talking about to help provide some relief for the city of Milpitas with this federal funding that's coming in. So I definitely want to invite those folks and all of you to please take part of this conversation that's going to be so important. And so with that, I give it back to staff for their presentations that they will be providing some information at today's meeting, which is also critically important as we all rebuild and recover from COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Dominguez. I will briefly insert here the Milpitas Unified School District announcement is that we have been in school now almost a month. We have had 2 cases of COVID that have been reported, where the small group of students have gone home and quarantined, and now they're back on campus. We are continuing to test on a bi-weekly basis. We have also been sharing the information that Councilmember Dominguez and the other city staff of City of Milpitas has been sharing with us about vaccinations, the pop-up testing, as well, the pop-up vaccination that was held at the Sports Center, as well as the various testing opportunities that they have in the community. And we are now preparing for summer school and the plan for the fall 2021 school, 21-22 school year. And that is the announcement that I have. Are there any other announcements?
Yes, Chair Norwood, if other commissioners do not have announcements, then staff does have a couple or a few announcements.
Okay,
Let us know when we can do that.
please proceed.
Okay, thank you, Chair Norwood. I'll start with the monthly webinar. We have been conducting and coordinating monthly webinars with NorCal Small Business Development Center, Chris Horton, on May 13th. This is coming up on Thursday at 11 a.m. We're hosting a webinar that will be focused on the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. We have some really good speakers lined up, so I hope you'll attend, and we'll provide you a flyer so that you can share with your networks. Julie Klaus, who's the director of SBA's San Francisco office, will be joining us. Louise Dawson, she's the restaurant program manager for NorCal's Small Business Development Center. She too will be joining us and sharing her information. And then of course, Chris Horton, of NorCal SBDC's lending manager, will also join us, and obviously a co-host of the event. So this is really important because the window of opportunity for these restaurants is really, really short in order to receive money. So we'll provide you more information via email. Please share that information and hope you're able to attend as well. My next announcement actually comes really hot off the press today. Governor Newsom stated that the state is seeing a $75.7 billion surplus. What that means for taxpayers is that they will likely see a new stimulus package or payment and other economic relief. That may include rent relief payments and utility payments for water, electricity, and gas bills. This week, Wednesday, Thursday, and I believe Friday, he's expected to share more information. At this point, there's no details about business assistance, but we hope some of that information is made public in the very near future. And then the other update is, you may remember that a few months ago, Superintendent Cheryl Jordan presented on the MUSD Alliance Partners for Future Ready Learners and their Innovation Campus. On April 23rd, the city and the school collaborative subcommittee met to discuss these two items. And the subcommittee directed staff from the city and MUSD to move forward with consideration of a memorandum of understanding by both the City Council and MUSD's Board of Education. The city staff is taking this action to the City Council for consideration at the May 18th meeting. So I just want to say thank you for your guidance and leadership. I know that was a really great presentation by Superintendent Jordan. You all appeared to like the information that was shared and the collaborative nature between us and the Office of Economic Development, the city, and MUSD. So I just want to let you know that that is moving forward. The last thing I'll say is that we had an amazing community conversation on Main Street revitalization a couple of weeks ago. And I want to say thank you to the commissioners that attended, including Vice Chair McNeil, Commissioner Mundra, and Commissioner Dairani, I believe. That is the end of my announcements.
So Alex, real quick question. When was the next step in that community conversation? Because I really enjoyed it. I think it was very interesting and it has a lot of potential. But I don't recall what the next step is.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I'm going to be looking to Nicole, who I think has indicated that the next community conversation is at the end of this month. And I believe it's on housing, which is really important. Nicole, can you confirm, or do you have that information?
That's correct. The next community conversation will take place on Thursday, May 27th. And that will, as Alex mentioned, will focus on a community conversation on housing. We can forward the membership the flyers for the next event.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole.
Alex?
Yes.
We also have one scheduled for June on Thursday, June 24th, and that'll be focused on kind of the historical context and, cultural resources in Main Street.
Thank you, Assistant City Manager Contact. Yes, we will be sharing information on both of those community conversations. It's a series of 3. We had a great turnout. We hope that those that participated plus more are able to participate for community conversation number 2 and then community conversation number 3, as Assistant City Manager Contact just mentioned. And we will be a part of this, although it's housing. It's very important for us in economic development, as well as the 3rd conversation. So we look forward to seeing you at those meetings. Thank you. That's the conclusion of our announcements.
Chair Norwood, this is Lynn Rice. I have a couple of announcements for Great Mall. Obviously, everyone knows that Legoland Discovery Center, after a year of being delayed, will be opening shortly and soon, which we will get more information out to the council when that does happen, and also this committee. So we have that. We also are under construction that will be opening in June, an 11,000 square foot Under Armour, which will actually be right in from entrance 4 up from Legoland Discovery Center. So those are 2 big ones that are opening. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up, we hosted a mall-wide job fair over this past week with about, I think it ended up about 40 of our retailers who are looking to fill jobs, especially since we went from the percentages of our restrictions from indoor capacity. So one of the feedbacks, and I kind of wanted to get, the chamber's feedback on this, and also Alex, if you're hearing, fortunately, we have this stimulus package and people are getting the stimulus checks and the unemployment benefits. On the flip side of that, people are making more sitting at home until the end of September as a result of it, which is making hiring very difficult. And I know it's not probably just us. I just read something that a lot of states are actually taking away that extra unemployment benefit now, just because the jobless rate is not going down, but the open jobs are still out there. So from an economic development standpoint, I just kind of wanted to get, Alex, your thought on that. And then the chamber, if what they're hearing from small businesses, if they're having a tough time hiring as well.
You, Chair, or Brother Commissioner Rice, I would say before we into that conversation, remember that we have access to community, or rather constant contact messages, as well as other types of communication that goes out to our community, especially as it relates to job fairs. Do look toward us, and we'd love to help you get the word out. In terms of the challenges that I think some business sectors are experiencing, I have heard that similar hiring challenges are happening within the lodging industry at the moment. I don't know whether it has to do with people receiving benefits and perhaps it meaning that they're making more by taking that check versus actually working. I have heard that from various people, and I think maybe perhaps anecdotal. But there is a challenge in different sectors in terms of bringing people back to work. So if there's a way that the Office of Economic Development, I'm sure the Chamber of Commerce would love to help as well. Let's have a sidebar conversation and let's figure out how we do this. As you know, Daniel is leading a COVID-19 workforce recovery program in partnership with Nova Works and also with MUSD. So we should have some brainstorming sessions or ideation to figure out how we can help your retailers at Great Mall.
Commissioner Mundra.
I just have a short interjection on that. I've talked to some pretty large companies. We do B2B mostly for our industrial lighting, and all the way up north to Northern California. You hear the same thing, that they can't find people, and it's really bad. And then I've been around Milpitas where about 3 restaurant owners asked me to find them people because they're shorthanded. So I think this problem is pretty pervasive. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Commissioner Mundra.
Okay, so maybe it's a sidebar. I know we have a lot on the agenda, but maybe, Alex, we can circle back later. We can circle back later on it. Okay, perfect. Just as a
reminder,
thank you.
The announcements is meant to share information. And
right.
Let's just we know how to get a hold of you, and we will, and look forward
Yep.
to
Perfect.
collaboration. Thank you.
And that's a perfect lead into item number 9, business items. City of Milpitas COVID-19 Workforce Recovery Program. Daniel DeGue, Senior Economic Development Coordinator.
Thank you, Chair Norwood. And you're absolutely correct. This is an excellent segue to the discussion that Commissioner Rice just brought up. Okay, good afternoon, members of the commission. So yes, this item is really a follow-up to our April EDTC meeting. At the April EDTC meeting, we really had the opportunity to unveil our City of Milpitas COVID-19 Workforce Recovery Program. And really, it was a twofold approach in how we wanted to present this item to the membership. One was really focused on, at a high level, introducing the project, explaining that it's a 2-phase program, with phase 1 really focusing on business intelligence, gathering information, and then phase 2 focusing on the actual implementation of the program, where we, in partnership with NovaWorks, as Director Andrade mentioned, would start to implement customized workforce training free of charge to Milpitas residents and business owners in our community. And really, this is a way for us to really improve our current state of the economy. We know that COVID has done a tremendous impact to our community, and this is our way of really combating the issues that we're facing locally. So in a recap, we presented the information, the membership provided excellent feedback to us as it relates to the program and how to deliver the survey most effectively to the community. And we took that information in, worked with our consultants, and developed an updated business survey and resident survey that we will be sharing at the end of this meeting with the membership. And that has now gone out as of this Monday to the membership. As a follow-up to that, as a follow-up to that, we also have now introduced a stakeholder working group body. And really, the goal of the stakeholder working group is really to assist and guide staff as it relates to public engagement and also visioning of our COVID-19 workforce recovery program. It's really going to allow the stakeholder group to provide a sounding board for the project team during the planning process, as well as communications, and being that communication conduit to the community to help publicize trainings and workshops as we move into phase 2. So this membership is currently set up as a membership of 9. It's representatives of the Milpitas Chamber of Commerce. We'd like to thank Commissioner Mundra for assisting in that effort. He's identified some excellent candidates who are a part of this process now. We also have Superintendent Cheryl Jordan representing the Milpitas Unified School District. We have Dr. Dickerson from Evergreen Valley College, who's the Dean of Workforce Development for the organization. We have Chris Horton, who is the NorCal Small Business Development Center Finance Director, who's working closely with us on those webinars that Director Andrade mentioned. We have representatives from the Labor and Trade, Steve Blanc, who's our Planning Commissioner for the City of Milpitas. And then we also have representation from the community-based organizations, the Milpitas Executive Lion Club, Mari Chris Benentez. Just to kind of introduce the members from the Milpitas Chamber of Commerce, we have Sal San Filippo, who's with Milpitas Sanitation and a board member of the Chamber of Commerce. We have Robert Jung, who represents RJLC Partners, former board member for the Milpitas Unified School District. And then we have Daniel Hunter, who is co-founder of Yoshi, which is a company that provides mobile fueling on demand. So this stakeholder group has met for the first time in May. The date that they met was last week, May 5th. It was really to piggyback off what was done for the EDTC, where we provided an overview of the program and also get their feedback on the survey. So what we're looking to do is really have one member from the Economic Development and Trade Commission represent and be a part of the stakeholder working group. They'll work closely with staff in the development of the program and would be a part of how we present information to the commission for feedback as we build the program. So we're looking now, Chair Norwood and the membership, if the commission is interested in having a discussion and selecting someone that would like to represent the stakeholder working group on behalf of EDTC.
Thank you, Daniel. As we review the item 9, it's my understanding that you have a working group and now you're looking for representation on that working group from one of the commissioners from the Economic Development and Trade Commission.
Correct.
And with that, I'd like to open up the discussion with the Trade Commission. Is there any immediate interest by any one of the commissioners to participate in this working group? Or are there any questions of staff in terms of what that may entail in terms of the number of meetings, the length of the meetings, and the pre-requirements and preparation?
I would like to know that information.
I would as well.
That's a great question. And I'm happy to provide that information. Let me just pull that up here. So the membership would meet once a month for the month of September, February, and April. And we're really designing that based on how the program will evolve. We're aligning that also with how we're going to be coming back to the commission with updates. The month of August will be where we report the phase 1 findings from the surveys. The month of September will be where we discuss marketing and outreach as we get closer to launching the actual program for trainings. And then for the month of February of 2022, that's where we'll convene with the stakeholder group to provide a recap on the training results. And then April of 2022 is when we would receive the program results from our consultant Nova Works. And at that time, the stakeholder group would meet to receive those results. So it's really those 4 times. We anticipate each of those meetings to be 1 hour in length. And so hopefully I'm able to answer that question with that response for the membership.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Based on the questions, based on the answers to the question and the information received, is there any interest from any of the members of the Economic Development Trade Commission to fulfill this position of membership?
I guess if you need someone, I will happily do it. If someone else wants to step up.
I'm happy to step up. This is Juliet, Commissioner Gomez.
And I would be interested in supporting the commissioners as well in the event that there is a need of an alternative, so that we always have a member of the Economic Development Trade Commission there, so that they would have the ability to come back during the announcements and report out potentially from their particular lens. So you have 3 members of the commission that will be interested in supporting this project.
Yes.
So I believe as the meeting times come close, Daniel, you'll be able to send out a message to the 3 of us, or to the 3 of us specifically. And then at that time, we could potentially select who would be available. We may be able to have one person consistently available for all of the meetings, but we also may have a rotating, but there'll always be someone from this trade commission to participate. That is that acceptable?
Yes, Chair, that is acceptable. I would recommend as staff that there be a motion and just memorializing Commissioner Gomez as the primary with Chair Norwood and Vice Chair McNeil as the alternate. That would be helpful for staff.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
I
I
second.
second it. Oh,
Sorry, Deepak, ladies first, always.
Sorry, of course.
Commissioner Gomez.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Chair Norwood,
Yes.
Vice Chair McNeil,
Yes.
Commissioner Mundra,
Commissioner Mudra, you're on mute.
Sorry. Yes.
thank you. Commissioner Rice,
Yes.
alternate Commissioner Aswathi,
Yes.
and, oh, sorry, just no alternate, just Commissioner Aswathi and then Commissioner Gomez.
Yes.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Motion carries. At this time, I'd also like to make a recommendation and receive the staff update. Is there a motion?
Commissioner
Robert?
Rice will make a motion.
We have a motion to receive the staff update. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion, the second roll call.
Chair Norwood,
Hold a moment. Alex has a point of,
Just a friendly reminder to check if there are any members of the public for a public forum, please.
thank you, Director Andrade, confirming that there are no public raised hands for this item.
Thank you.
okay. So we have a motion and a second, and now we're in the roll call vote.
Starting with Chair Norwood,
Yes.
Vice Chair McNeil,
Yes.
Commissioner Mundra,
Yes.
Commissioner Rice,
Yes.
Commissioner Aswathi,
Yes.
and Commissioner Gomez.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Item 9B, Economic Development 101, Alex Andrade, Director of Economic Development, Daniel DeGoo, Senior Economic Development Coordinator, and Nicole Inamine. Is it Inamine or Inamine?
It's Ina Mine.
Yeah, I've never heard that before. Thank you for sharing it for the first time in like 2 years. Say that again.
Ina Mine.
Inamine. Okay.
I'll
Got it.
respond to the above, but close enough.
I want to get it right. I want to honor your name.
Thank you, Chair.
Norwood. Ron, if you can please put up the PowerPoint presentation for the Economic Development 101 presentation. Here it is. You can just go, there it is. Well, thank you, Economic Development and Trade Commission. Yes, Daniel DeGoo, our Economic Development Coordinator, and Nicole Inamine, our Economic Development Specialist, and I are really pleased to start what we think is going to be a series of Economic Development 101. We just want to have a conversation with you, give you a better idea of what it is we do on a day-to-day basis, what your role is, kind of how you fit within the structure, and then just share information on projects, initiatives. The Office of Economic Development team has been incredibly busy the last 14 months of the COVID in complete partnership with the City Council, the City Manager's Office, and various various city departments in order to provide you the best absolute customer service that we can. So with that, why don't we go ahead and get started? Slide 2, please. So I'm starting here because I just want to remind you that the City Council has identified 7 priorities. And as you'll see right there around the center, the economic development and job growth is an important council priority. And I think even more so at this particular point in time because of the pandemic. The fact that the council has selected economic development and job growth as a priority allows us to proceed with our economic development strategy and our work program. Next slide, please. This next slide gives you a sense of the City of Milpitas' organizational chart. And from a City of Milpitas perspective, we're always focused up on top to ensure that the Milpitas residents and community enjoy an increased quality of life, and they receive, as I mentioned earlier, just the best possible customer service that we can provide. And that's really where it all starts. You'll see that the Mayor and City Council obviously are our making body, and then we've highlighted from the city's organizational structure our city manager, Steve McCarris, and then our assistant city manager, Ashwini Kantak, who's joined us today. She is not only the assistant city manager, but leads our community services area. And in red, you see us heading into the community development CSA, and these are the three departments, including economic development, planning, building safety, and housing. And because we love engineering so much, they too are part of our CSA as well as our life safety. So with that, I think we'll go to the next slide, please. You've seen this next slide, and it's actually very appropriate. We believe that Legoland is finally going to open on May 25th. That photo is from a brick opening. Instead of a groundbreaking, they did a brick breaking some time ago, and we're very excited that they're finally going to open. Our mission is to provide services and resources to the business and real estate communities, real estate development communities, with the purpose of always focusing on business attraction, retention, and expansion. We want to ensure to expand opportunities for employment for our residents, and importantly, to stimulate the local economy in such a way where we expand different revenue sources, such as our sales tax, our transient occupancy tax, which, as you know, is our hotel tax, and then, of course, our property taxes. And we want to ensure and be cognizant of the fact that we want to maintain a positive balance between growth, social equity, and the economic vitality of Milpitas. Next slide, please. So this is a slide about you all. You are our Economic Development and Trade Commission. You advise the City Council on business issues, cultivate international trade relationships, of which I'll give you a little teaser here. Nicole is going to be presenting on that in the next month or two. We're finally kicking off our International Trade and Commerce program. We were doing that about a year ago, and then the pandemic hit, but we are excited to kick that off. And aside from that, you help make recommendations on the design, development, and implementation of economic development. We also work in workforce development and real estate matters. You see, what makes you all unique is that the EDTC is a function of different types of seats through NUSD and education, technology and trade, business, the Chamber of Commerce, a resident, and then we have 2 current vacant seats in hospitality and commercial real estate. And then, as you know, our work is guided by a work plan that is approved by our City Council. Next slide, please. So we are at what is economic development? So from my perspective, economic development is really a concerted effort on the part of those that are a responsible governing body. For us, it is our City Council, and they attempt to influence the direction of private sector investment toward opportunities that can lead to sustained economic growth. They do that through various policies and programs and initiatives that allows us to carry out our economic development work plan. You see the information there on the top right-hand side about what economic development is. That's information that comes directly from the International Economic Development Council. I'll pause there for a second so you can read that. We wear lots of different hats, and I believe the next slide is kind of just gives you a sense of what it is we do with economic development. With that, I will say, go ahead, Ron, and next slide, please. Oh, actually, we have this very important slide. So our work program is really a function of our economic development strategy, which was approved by City Council on May 5th, 2020. So we're 1 year into a 5-year program. And as you can see, there are 7 really important topic areas under 35 strategies, and we have exactly 64 implementation actions. In the last year, we have actually been quite prolific in moving along the implementation of our economic development strategy. There's also other initiatives and items that you'll hear about today through Daniel and Nicole's presentations on items that we're about to kick off. So this is our work program. Next slide, please. So what is it we do? I was mentioning that we wear different hats and do a lot of different things. We are brand influencers, revenue generators, bridge builders. We are community liaisons. We're always communicating with our business community, our chamber. I was communicating with our real estate development folks, and we're doing business retention, business expansion, and attraction, among various other things. And so that first column on the left-hand side, promote Milpitas as a place to invest. Those functions there on the left-hand side, we have talked about, and Daniel and Nicole are going to talk about that further. But next, Daniel's going to go and he's going to present on that middle section that leads with revenue generators, advising, facilitating development, business attraction, so on and so forth, as I mentioned, as well as permit assistance, which is a really important function that we do. We consider ourselves facilitators and we're not regulators. He'll also talk about collaborations with partners. And then Nicole will follow up and we'll talk about the brand influencing work that we do, as well as our workforce development collaborations that we're currently engaged in. We've done a lot as it relates to business recovery and assistance programs. We're starting to see ourselves move away from recovery and resiliency, and now starting to move kind of back into our regular economic development work. And then we'll end with communications and engagement. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Daniel. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Director Andrade, and good afternoon for the second time, Economic Development and Trade Commission membership. As Alex mentioned, my set of slides will focus on really city revenues and how we as economic development generate revenues, our real estate contributions to the city of Milpitas, an example of how we collaborate with our partners and how that really facilitates business attraction, retention, and expansion, as well as permit assistance. So the slide before you, which is the property tax revenue slide, and it's going to be this slide and a few other slides that will focus on property tax, sales tax, and hotel tax. But this slide before you really shows you the last 8 fiscal years, where we are in the current fiscal year, as far as what's been adopted by council, and then what looks to be proposed for the upcoming fiscal year. And this, just a full disclaimer for the commission, this can be found in our proposed fiscal year 21-22 budget that was released by our city manager at the end of April. And so what this slide really shows you is, for the last 8 fiscal years, has been strong growth in property tax. But with that that orange column, it shows a 36.9 million. There's a slight decrease in the anticipated revenue for property tax. And if you look at for fiscal year 21-22, the proposed budget is indicating an increase into 41.3 million. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is also from our budget book, and this really shows you the property tax allocation by percent among various governmental entities. When you look at the property tax that's collected by the assessor, that 1% really does get divvied up to different organizations and entities. The city of Milpitas, as it shows here on your slide, the city of Milpitas receives a 16.2% share of that 1% allocation. And so that's when you look at the numbers and you see that the dollars that we're receiving for property tax, that's that 1%, which is 16.2%. That's the city share. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this is some graphics again from our FY 2021-2022 proposed budget. This shows our revenues for sales tax. The last 8 fiscal years are in blue, and it shows you the dollars that we've been receiving. For the fiscal year 2021, that shows a 24.5 projected budget for sales tax. This number does include Measure F, which is the quarter-cent local sales tax that was approved by the voters. That is indicating a 1.2 million additional funds. And then if you look at the far right teal color, the 31.9, that will show you the sales tax that we anticipate receiving in the proposed budget. That 31.9 includes a $6.3 million addition with Measure F that was passed by the voters. Next slide, please. So this is just giving a little bit more context to understand how these allocations are divvied up. For sales tax, we're currently at the rate of 9.25. With that 9.25, you'll see the city receives 1% when that gets divvied up. And then we also received the 0.25 for Measure F that was approved by the voters in November of 2020. And that Measure F has an 8-year sunset clause. So after the 8 years, there will no longer be a Measure F unless approved by the voter to extend that. So we're getting, when you look at it, 1% plus an additional 0.25% that's coming towards to what the city's receiving in revenue. Next slide, please. So this is the last slide on revenues as it relates to hotel sales tax and property tax. This shows you again, when you look at the slide, the last 8 fiscal years have been much higher than what we're anticipating and seeing for the current fiscal year. With COVID-19 and the impacts of COVID-19 having to start and stop and having a real tremendous impact on our business travelers, we have definitely noticed that there will be a much lower revenue total for hotel tax in this current fiscal year. So we're anticipating that will be around $4.1 million. The proposed budget for fiscal year 21-22 looks to see a little bit of an increase compared to what we're anticipating for this current fiscal year, and that's looking at the $7.7 million for fiscal year 21-22. You'll notice that on effective January 1 of 2019, our sales tax went from 10% to 14%. That was an effort that the city really undertook, and a part of that process of getting from 10 to 14, there was a study that was done that was really being led by City Manager's Office, Finance and Economic Development, where there was an elasticity study. Many of you on the commission might recall that, and it was really looking, we had a consultant, HVS, look at what the impacts would be by increasing the TOT rate, should the voters decide to do that. And so that 14% where we are now really is allowing us to get additional tax dollars when there is transactions for hotel occupancy. In addition to that, many of you on the commission also remember the short-term rental efforts that we were working on in our office, in addition to partnership with the planning department. The outcome of that was establishing regulation through an ordinance to monitor and regulate short-term rentals. In addition to that, as you most likely recall, we also executed a voluntary collection agreement with Airbnb. And that agreement has allowed us in the fiscal years 2019, 2020, and in addition, fiscal year 2021 and going into 21, 22 to receive and also anticipate additional TOT dollars for those short-term stays that are 30 days or less in places of residence within the city of Milpitas. So that is allowing us as a city to really generate additional revenue that can help support our economic base. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this slide before you really highlights a lot of the great work that we're doing in real estate deals and transactions. As many of you know, the 1831 and 1841 Terror Court was a transaction that was led through the Office of Economic Development, and that allowed us to acquire an acre of land, which would really be used to accommodate an extension of South Milpitas Boulevard and Single Court. So it's really completing that complete vision for the TASP area, now rebranded as Milpitas Metro. Same thing goes with 1700 Sango. That's a $5.3 million purchase, and that's a 1.31 acre land that would allow for a vast expansion of Augustus Park, which all you are most likely familiar with. And then the other transaction that has happened that has to do with lease has to do with our fire station number 2. The fire station number 2 is pretty much a building structure that needs to be demolished and rebuilt. And so there needed to be temporary relocation for fire staff to provide services that are very needed to the community. And so with that, a lease was negotiated, led by the Office of Economic Development, that allowed for temporary relocation to 1126 Yosemite Drive. And that is that information on that. So this right here is really an illustration of cross-departmental collaborations. We do this in many different ways. We as economic development professionals are bridge builders, we're connectors, and we do that in a number of different ways. One of it really is involving land use policies, because we understand what land use policies really is the nexus to business attraction, retention, and expansion. And so as many of you are all aware of, we've collaborated closely with planning to bring a number of these items before you. And as you can see here on your screen, it highlights the Milpitas General Plan 2040, where we have an economic development element. There's the Gateway Main Street specific plan, which is focused on Midtown. And as Director Andrade mentioned, there was a great discussion that happened not that long ago on Main Street and really revitalizing that area. And then last but not least, the Milpitas Metro specific plan, which really has a new component to this, where we're integrating and infusing an innovation district that we think will really allow for the next wave of generation development for employment uses, as well as bringing a new set of completeness to the task boundary. Next slide, please. Okay, and this right here is really kind of piggybacking off the last slide, and this is my last slide here, which focuses on, as we call it, the bread and butter of economic development, which is really the business attraction, retention, and expansion permit assistance. We work very closely with our colleagues on these efforts because it is a very multi-pronged approach that we need to take. But this list right here before you on the left-hand side, it shows you the different businesses that we have really helped through partnership with a lot of these businesses to bring them in to ensure they stay here, and also help them move through the speed of business to ensure that they can continue to operate with success in the city. Most recently, if you look on your right-hand side, you'll see that Legoland, as Commissioner Rice informed you, is opening very soon. And we also have recently heard the former campus center that was sold by Hudson Pacific Property is now bringing in a new headquarters from Coursera, and they are formerly based out of Fremont, and they have now signed a 118,000 square foot lease to relocate their headquarters to the city of Milpitas. We anticipate that's going to bring strong business to business, which will help our sales tax. Well, we know they're going to bring a number of different employees into this area, which will service our local food and beverage businesses as well. So we just see these types of transactions to be very important to the overall health of the city. And that's how we do that on a daily basis as staff. Next slide, please. So now to transition to Nicole, she'll be able to go over the next set of slides that will focus on how we as a city are brand influencers, workforce development, business recovery and assistance program, as well as how we interact with communications and engagement with the business community and the public. Nicole?
Thank you, Coordinator Degu. Hello, good evening. My name is Nicole. I'll be starting with being brand influencers. So as brand influencers, we strengthen Milpitas' unique value proposition for future investment to the city of Milpitas. We want to be a place where companies can grow, where employees want to work, and where people want to live. We accomplish this in various ways, including telling our success stories to the business and development communities. For example, the Office of Economic Development contracted with the Silicon Valley Business Journal, as you see on this slide here, to showcase the strengths and attributes of Milpitas. And next slide, please. And staff also developed a modern-looking webpage, our landing economic development webpage, that highlights Milpitas' strength and fast pace of growth with the words invest, innovate, and inspire at the center of the page. Next slide, please. And part of building a robust and inclusive economy is growing the next talent pool in our own backyard. Partnering with MUSD, community colleges, and workforce development boards, staff is able to help the next generation of the workforce to be equipped with the knowledge and the tools necessary to remain relevant in a quickly changing workplace, especially more now than ever after the pandemic. Next slide, please. And here in front of you, you'll see on the left side a snapshot of the city's unemployment numbers since the beginning of COVID-19. Most notably, you'll see that the unemployment rate jumped pretty rapidly from 3.2% to just under 13% in March of last year. And as the economy opens back up again, and as part of our own post-pandemic recovery, the Office of Economic Development aims to continue tracking this data, as well as implement a COVID-19 workforce recovery program to survey the residents and businesses and assess their needs and implement a workforce program that will meet those needs. On the right side of your screen, you'll see
Nicole?
not only 12%, yes?
A quick question on this particular slide. We went from April in 2020 to 12.9%, and then now the last reading you have is February 2021, 5.5%. But there were earlier conversations about our retailers and our restaurants not being able to hire. So when we talk about the unemployment rate, does that mean full-time employment or part-time employment?
This is, I believe, the definition of the labor force as defined by the EDD, where we receive our data, is anybody anyone actively looking for work. But Alex and Daniel, please correct me if I'm wrong.
I think that's right. The only thing I would add is oftentimes when we look at unemployment rate numbers, we sometimes forget about those that are underemployed. And so they may have one or two part-time jobs when they're actually seeking one quality full-time job. So that's the other aspect that we are seeking. And so, yeah, Daniel, do you have anything to add at this point?
Yeah, I think both of you have hit it quite well. So yeah, no additional comments on that.
Thank you.
Okay. Because I was just thinking about reflecting on the earlier part of our conversation about the Great Mall looking to hire, and then Commissioner Mondra talking about restaurants needing for employment, and I'm realizing, okay, those are part-time jobs, but those aren't in this data. And it sounds like the fact that we have a number of retailers and we have a number of restaurants, there may be an opportunity at some point for us to look at, what role does the part-time workforce play to our economy locally in this context? Because if the Great Mall or these restaurants don't have the employees, then the ability for them to maximize the revenue on the hours that they're open isn't going to be there. And so I was just kind of paying attention, not to stop the presentation, but there's something there data-wise between what Lynn and Commissioner Mondra was talking about, that we're not, and it may not be a part of the economic development and trade, but because we are talking about the unemployment rate, I think you mentioned it, Alex, it's the underemployed rate as well.
I also would add, I'm looking for information from a previous presentation that we've given you on occupational mix and diverse workforce. And you may recall that in our economic development strategy, there was information about the top 10 jobs in Milpitas. And while we certainly had number one was software developers and programmers at about 2,800 employees, and then the second one was retail persons. And then we have a pretty significant amount of fast food and counter workers, waiters and waitresses, cashiers and cooks. So when you look at occupational mix of the top 10 jobs by number, the part-time workforce is a real important workforce for us because of our high businesses in retail and restaurant. And even in our lodging industry, although our lodging industry is looking for mostly full-time employees, but to answer your question, Chair Norwood, we rely heavily on our part-time workforce.
Yeah, and if I could just add to that, a lot of it is also funneled through what is provided to EDD. So we can after this meeting, we can follow up with our consultants at NovaWorks, who's really providing us a lot of this information as it relates to unemployment. And we will try to address this information, Chair Norwood, what you're asking, as it relates to the COVID-19 Workforce Recovery Program as well. So I think as we come back with phase 1 results, I think there will be another opportunity for us to address these questions as well.
Okay, not just to expand the conversation, but to Chair Norwood's point, there are retailers that can't expand hours because they don't have the workforce. So I think that definitely falls into that bucket of the workforce recovery program. So it does have a direct impact on sales tax and actually business in general for economic development. So.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioner Rice. I think both of your observations do capture this phenomenon that we do see where we see unemployment rates going down. However, anecdotally, we keep hearing of these employers who struggle to find workers. So yeah, more to come on that via the COVID-19 Workforce Recovery Program.
Excellent, thank you.
And continuing on with this slide here, on the right side of the slide, you'll see that only 12% of Milpitas residents both live and work in the city. We have a large amount of people who commute from outside of the city and end up in Milpitas to work. And we also have quite a substantial amount of folks who leave the city of Milpitas to other cities to their place of employment. And our goal as staff works to attract and expand businesses in Milpitas, we'd like to bring in more manufacturing, tech, office, and R&D jobs into the city of Milpitas, and we aim to bring this percentage up from 12% to increase this number. Next slide, please. So the Office of Economic Development plays various roles in creating a very resilient business community, and particularly in the last year, ensuring its recovery after the COVID-19 pandemic. Through webinars and constant contact messages, of which we've had 53 so far, we disseminate important information and resources. The Micro Enterprise Grant Program provided immediate financial relief to businesses who needed it right after the pandemic. The food delivery service cap protects our restaurants and continues to do so. The Small Business Spotlight Program provides free digital marketing to our small business community. And although many of these initiatives were implemented in response to the pandemic, some of these were long-term efforts, such as the Facade Improvement Program, the Employment Land Study, and Manufacturing Day. So business assistance, as you can see here from our wide array of programs, business assistance is a core part of our work, and this slide shows just a snapshot of the type of programs that have been developed for our business community. And next, I'll hand it back to Alex to wrap up our presentation.
I have a question. Is there three of these areas that are the most effective and produce the most financial results that you can identify?
The three most effective programs? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Commissioner.
So, I mean, I don't need an answer right now, but which of these three areas produce the best financial results?
My initial reaction is I think each of these programs helps different kinds of businesses in different ways. And for example, off the top of my head, I see the Hotel and Travel Industries Report, and that's an effort to bring back a robust hotel and travel industry, which will significantly increase our TOT dollars. But our Spotlight program, through its marketing services, that will help some of our small businesses recover from the pandemic. And it may not translate to a huge increase in revenue. It means that maybe we've stopped a few businesses from closing. But I will defer to Alex and Daniel to further elaborate on that.
Thank you.
I'd like to add that while we're focusing on business retention, expansion, and attraction, business attraction sounds really sexy, but it's actually very difficult to do. It's a lot easier for staff to focus on business retention and expansion because those businesses, they're already invested in the community, especially if they actually own property. So while it's difficult to track the outcome of business retention, it is what you mentioned earlier, which is business to business. The business to business relationship and the sales tax that comes out of those relationships can be immense. When you look at Cisco partnering with KLA, or the new company that's leaving Fremont coming into Milpitas by the name of Corsair Gaming that Daniel alluded to. They're coming in, they're a hardware company for gaming enthusiasts, and they're going to develop products that will be sold around the world. And the fact that this Milpitas will be the headquarters is where the point of sale will happen. But it isn't just about revenues. It's also about ensuring that we have good, strong, quality jobs for our residents. And so a lot of what we're doing in business retention and expansion is that, creating strong opportunities for employment, and obviously through the workforce development work that we're doing. So in some way, shape, or form, every one of these icons that's listed here, and first of all, it's not an exhaustive list, promotes financial results for the city.
So mine was a very simple question, which was like, which three are the most effective in producing financial results? You know, just quantify it, and it doesn't have to be in this meeting.
Yeah, we're going to come back to you and the commission on what we're calling employment, the fiscal benefits of employment lands. And you're going to see a breakdown of product type, meaning retail, office, industrial, hotel, as well as residential. And you're going to see the outcome of those types of developments as it relates to what you're referring to. So we'll be coming back at some future date.
So what would be really kind of useful to see is moving forward, you know, to address the future of Milpitas, you know, what's the we can optimize what we do so to get the best results. That was the root of the question.
So I think I can compliment Commissioner Mundra's perspective. There are on this diagram, or this list of services that the Economic Development Trade Commission offers, services and programs that you offer, which is not an exhaustive list. Some actually have quantifiable data that you can obtain from them. Others do not. The ones that you can obtain quantifiable data from, is it a responsibility of the Economic Development Trade Commission to have that information available? Is it something that you should track and will track? And if so, then that would lead to what he's looking for. So for example, the small business spotlight program, if that program runs for a year of certain businesses, then to a certain extent, there's the ability to say, we ran this program for a year. They can show us their revenues during that time frame in comparison to another time frame where they didn't have that program running, and that may be some quantifiable data in terms of results. Similarly, the food service delivery fee cap, the fact that you're bringing down that delivery service fee cap shows money that from this initiative, which the Economic Development Trade Commission has helped initiate, shows money that the businesses have saved, which means they have a chance to reinvest. So some of these have that opportunity for that type of information to be available. Now, if it's the responsibility of the Economic Development Trade Commission to have that data readily available, that's something separate.
Chair Norwood, actually, you gave a perfect example as it relates to the Spotlight Shop Local campaign. We're developing a survey for the 15 winners of that lottery to ascertain, yes, how much of an impact has it had, whether it's positive or negative. And so we're going to be receiving that type of information soon. And yes, we will be bringing that back to the EDTC for informational purposes.
And I'll conclude with this. So for example, you mentioned Cisco and KLA. Say if the city facilitated a business relationship, somehow a lunch, a meet and greet or whatever, and then they decided to do business together and they were willing to share that information. You might not get the numbers, but you have the opportunity to say this is quantifiable in terms of here's an impact that we had that helped drive revenue into the city for sales tax based on what the Economic Development and Trade Commission facilitated. So I think he's looking for, how some of these are connecting the dots that come back to, go ahead.
Yes, that's correct. So basically moving forward, we'll get, more results more effectively by knowing these, by having this data analyzed ahead of time.
Okay, thank you. We will work on that. I think that's a good statement and something that we are doing as it relates to our department metrics. So
I see.
And it does allow you to qualify these categories that you have here because you've got several reports, you've got several programs, because right now they are all listed, but they're not categorical in a way that they can be analyzed. And not that each thing in a category will be apples to apples, but at least they will be in categories where these are ones that have the impact, right? These are the ones that have the fiscal impact. These are the ones that have the strategic long-term impact because they facilitate relationships and other things. These help with retention because we've eased some burdens that these businesses may have. And these reports are utilized collectively in a certain way on behalf of the city because of planning and those types of things. Hopefully I hope I spoke Indrajit.
Thank you. Yes. So I think it's another step forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mundra. Chair Norwood, thank you for that further clarification. And actually, I think it's a really good statement and a way for us to continue to tell the story that we do in economic development and with you as our Economic Development and Trade Commission. So thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I think we have one slide left. Maybe,
that's yours.
Maybe two. Okay, last slide. So looking forward, actually, that was a great segue to looking forward. I think we have some, we have a path forward in terms of metrics and how to continue telling that story. So I really appreciate that. I mentioned earlier, we're in year one of a 5-year economic development strategy. Thus far, things are moving along nicely. Of course, we're in a pandemic, but it does appear that we're going to be moving out of that pretty soon. Hopefully, the coronavirus cases continue to decrease as well as obviously deaths. But I'm feeling optimistic, cautiously optimistic, but optimistic. And then we want to, of course, continue to provide business services, assistance, and recovery services and assistance for our business community. But as I mentioned earlier, we're also looking forward and we're looking at positioning the city of Milpitas as a regional powerhouse as it relates to our economy, synonymous with Silicon Valley. So we're looking forward and beyond the post-pandemic. And then that takes me to the American Rescue Plan. This is a real important opportunity for us. We need to think about how we tailor investments and investment opportunities for growth. And then we also should look at how we allocate funds where they have the most impact. And I'm really glad that Councilmember Dominguez has personally invited you to attend tomorrow's council meeting, because I think it's an opportunity to talk about what this could mean for the community. But it's an opportunity for accountability and transparency. So I hope that you will take Councilmember Dominguez's invitation and participate in tomorrow's conversation with the City Council as it relates to the budget and the American Rescue Plan dollars. And then we hope that you enjoyed this conversation. We're going to ask you to go into a Q&A. You see our last bullet point there says Economic Development 201. We like to make this a series. And if there are specific sections of this presentation that you want to hone in on, we can easily do a presentation. We can shorten our presentation next time to 10 or 15 minutes in order to allow more of a dialogue with you and the council member, as well as the community. So with that, that's the end of our presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it provides you an opportunity about just what economic development is, how you fit within the organizational structure as an advisory body. And again, we hope to do this, if not next month, the month after that, and just provide you more information about economic development. So with that, I think you can open it up if there's any public comments, or we're obviously waiting and willing to have a conversation with you. Any questions?
Yes.
I think I have a comment. Go ahead, Casey. I have a comment after
Thanks,
that.
Andrea. Yeah, just a couple of things. First, a very good presentation. I look forward to 201 because I thought this was good. I would like, perhaps my personal feelings to get more information on how you advise and facilitate on development bridge builders. I know we touched on it a little bit more. I'd like to get more examples in the next meeting. But I want to get, this one is a little bit side note. It's more of a side comment. And on slide 5 of your presentation, you list the commissioners, and it's I don't know if it's a pet peeve of mine, but we have 2 very fine what we call alternate commissioners, Commissioner Swanee and Gomez, who are not listed in the list, where we have vacant the hospitality and commercial real estate. And for the what we call the alternate commissioners, they do as much work and have been for a long time. I would like to make sure that they get the acknowledgement that they deserve and whenever we are discussing the members of the commission.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I
Vice Chairman
appreciate that,
Thiel,
Casey.
thank you for that comment. Our apologies, sincere apologies for inadvertently leaving out our laudable alternates.
I'm so jealous. I am so jealous that he said that first. Can we rewind and I can say it? Thank you, Casey. That was really good. I appreciate that a lot.
You get an applause, Casey.
Everyone's fine, right?
Thank you, Casey.
No, it's well deserved. Thank you.
Any other comments?
It's well deserved for them, not me. I don't deserve anything. So, yeah, it's well deserved for Commissioners Swanee and Gomez.
So overall, I think, all these presentations have been pretty impressive. And specifically, it takes us out of trying to see if it feels good or if it might work or this and that to some very targeted results that are intended here, and all the work's being put in place for that. And I look forward to seeing some very powerful results in the coming couple of years. So thank you for all that work.
Thank you, Commissioner Mundra.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions? Are there any comments from the
I
public?
would like to comment, Chair, if that's okay.
Yes.
Hello.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I just put in the comments, and for anyone viewing, I invite you all to please contact me if you have any ideas that you would like me to present tomorrow at the City Council meeting. It is really, really important. These ideas do need to get through tomorrow so they can move into staff direction and then come back to us. I believe they'll come back in June, but if they're not on the list tomorrow, it's going to be really hard to get them in later. So I am going to be available throughout the night. It is going to be a very long night for me. So if you guys have an idea at midnight, please don't feel shy not to call me. My number is 669-228-1623. And so please, if you have any ideas on how we should, please do not be shy to give. Thank you so much for all the work that you guys all do.
Thank you, Karina, and also remain unstoppable. We appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just lots of coffee and all the work and the passion that you guys give. But just know that that's what is moving our city forward, and we have an amazing opportunity. We're talking about $16.9 million So let's do it together.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion to receive the staff update?
So
So,
moved.
We have Commissioner Mundra with the motion. Is there a second?
I second that.
Second.
We have Commissioner Gomez with the second. Roll call.
Chair Norwood,
Yes.
Vice Chair McNeil,
Yes.
Commissioner Mundra,
yes.
Commissioner Rice,
Yes.
Commissioner Aswapi,
Yes.
and Commissioner Gomez.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item C, Milpitas Small Business Spotlight Program.
Good evening, Commissioners. I am back with another update for the Milpitas Small Business Spotlight Program. This time, I would like to show you the videos for 2 new businesses that were recently produced and edited and completed. And those businesses will be Humford Printing and Graphics, and Beaujojou Hair and Nails. Ron, could you please show us the videos?
I don't hear anything.
Oh, could you turn up the volume, please, Ron? And start the video over if you could.
Pardon me, what was the problem?
No volume.
Need audio.
Audio's turned on though. Let's see.
With the service you need to take your project from concept to completion.
There you go.
We are a veteran-owned, environmental-friendly local printing company serving the Bay Area since 1969. We are able to provide a variety of top-notch printing services to both businesses and individuals in the Silicon Valley, from business cards, envelopes, banners, and operational forms. It is our goal to help you bring your ideas to life. Untitled Printing and Graphics is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We are located at 275 Dempsey Road. Please call us or visit our website to inquire about your printing needs. Untitled Printing and Graphics, let us bring your ideas to life.
Pretty nice.
I believe there's one more, right?
That's right. Could you show the next one as well? Thank you.
Welcome to Beaujojou Hair and Nails. We are full salon service offering a wide range of treatment for hair, skin, nails, and more. Enjoy classic manicure and pedicure. Have your acrylic nail applied, fill, or gentle remove. Eyebrows, French tip, and much more. Be sure to ask about our bridal services. We're proud that Beaujojou Hair and Nails not only bring beauty and confidence to Milpitas customers, we also contribute and support city services and employ local professionals with good paying job and safe and nurturing environment. Beaujojou Hair and Nails is located at 1257 Jacqueline Road. We open Tuesday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Appointments are needed. Please call. Be sure to visit Beaujojou Hair and Nails, making Milpitas beautiful since 1996.
I love these things.
These are the 2 videos and more to come. this upcoming weekend, we will be shooting the last 3 businesses, and those will be Legends Barbershop on Main Street, Milpitas Pure Water, and Crust Sourdough and Deli. And these videos, well, if you would like to see more, you can visit the Milpitas YouTube page. But yes, these videos will be shared across our YouTube channel, Milpitas Matter issues, our constant contacts, our webpage, and as well as our social media channels.
Didn't we already do the Milpitas water?
No, Milpitas Pure Water is our last batch of businesses to be filmed.
Okay, but so am I mixing it with another water company?
In our
Because we did-
spotlight, we only have one water company. I did mention the same update at the last EDPC meeting, so maybe that's why it sounds familiar. If there's any questions or comments, I'll be happy to take them.
Pretty good.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes, thank you.
And as Director Andrade mentioned, these videos and for the participating businesses in the Spotlight program, they will be followed up with a survey to assess the effectiveness of the program.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there a roll call?
Chair Norwood,
Yes. Is there public comment?
there are no raised hands for public comment.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, and we have Chair Norwood, yes.
Thank you. Vice Chair McNeil,
Yes.
Commissioner Mundra,
Yes.
Commissioner Rice,
Yes.
Commissioner Aswafi,
Yes.
and Commissioner Gomez.
Commissioner.
Do we hear Commissioner Gomez?
Commissioner Gomez?
Oops, I was on mute. Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. We are at item 10 on the agenda, an adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
I second.
We have a motion and a second on the adjournment. Roll call.
Chair Norwood,
Yes.
Vice Chair McNeil,
Yes.
Commissioner Mundra,
Yes.
Commissioner Rice,
Yes.
Commissioner Aswafi,
Yes.
and Commissioner Gomez.
Yes.
Excellent. The motion to adjourn has now been approved. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hope everybody had a Mother's Day yesterday, and happy Mexican Mother's Day.
It's Mexican Mother's Day. Ay, ay,
Yes.
ay. We're gonna take my mom out. Tequila shot to run the house.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Awesome. Hey, Alex, can you hang around for me for a second?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you all for your presentations. It's very informative. I appreciate it. That's a lot of work. A lot of work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ron, if we
Thank
could-
you, guys.
Councilmember, can you hold on for a second?
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you,
absolutely.
Councilmember.
Awesome.
We can, maybe, Ron, if you could stop recording. That would be good.
Yep, let me know.
Yes. Recording is stopped.
Okay,
Awesome.
thank you.
you.
Hold on. That's a recording. Live still going. Hold on 1 second, please.
Oh, okay. We can always regroup via phone. That way we don't,
Yeah, whichever's easiest.
You know, gentlemen, you might want to regroup because I'm not sure how to stop the live post.
Okay.
Might want to end it just to make sure.
you want to get on a phone call? I could originate the call.
Yes, please.
Yeah, that would be great. Just give me a ring.
Okay.
Thanks,
Have a-
Alex.
Thank you.
I'll call you in a
All
minute. Thanks,
Bye.
Ron.